Hello, hello. Jumping on a little bit early today just so that we can get started. I'm also going to do a little recap of what we've learned so far. If you're just joining this group, I know we've had a few new members join in since I began this series a couple weeks ago. So welcome. My name is Amelia Lasky. I am blessed and honored to be a supervisor in CARE, Center for Aromatherapy Research and Education. I've been for the past 5 years, which has been pretty cool. And then this year, I started offering a lot of private coaching and private support for people wanting to grow their raindrop business. I do have a helper in the background. He's working on his math homework. So if you see movement, that's my 11-year-old. He is eager and ready to go play. So he's working on math. But anyway, so my goal with this series, hey Sherry, I see that you're live, welcome. My goal with this series has been to inspire you. It's been to encourage you to open up your heart into an idea of vulnerability, because we want to be in touch with who our clients are. That's what makes us the best versions of ourselves as a coach, is when we're vulnerable enough to say we've been there, we've done that. And taking you through these 4 series, these 4 workshops essentially, is to just get you thinking on how you can be the best version of yourself for your clients and for your business. Hi, really good to see you today, Sherry. So just as a recap, we started 4 weeks ago just talking about what is vulnerability and why you want it in your business. So vulnerability is about doing things that scare you. It's about doing things that are big and almost to a point where you feel like, wow, if I do this, it could go one way, or if I do this, it could also go another way. I could worry about what people think of me, or I could just be excited that I'm sharing myself to be an inspiration for others. And that's really what I wanted you to take away, is that when you're vulnerable, you are allowed to help and inspire and share with other people. Most of the people that we notice on Facebook and Instagram are people telling their true stories, their real life stories of what's going on with them, why they're struggling, how they've gotten through it, what makes them happy, the joys of daily living. And that's the coolest part, is that when we do that as well, we become approachable, we become connectable. That's not even a word, but we become really excited to connect and share. I can't answer questions right now. I love you. So the best part about this is it connects us to our humanness. Intimacy is like intimacy. We're looking into ourselves to find out who we are so that we can inspire others with our victories through all of our struggle. We don't want to let our struggle be our identity. We want our victories to be our identity, our story, our overcoming, our amazingness that we've had to go through, because it made us who we are today. All of you here have a reason to be here, and all of you here have a desire to grow. All of you have been called by something in your heart to get you going into this business of service. And so it's really, really beautiful to watch this happen. Then in week 2, we talked briefly about our ideal client, and our ideal client is essentially just a former version of who you were. Okay, so everyone that you are going to call in, not everyone that I'm going to call in is not going to be a former version of you, but every single person that connects with me as a coaching student or client or whatever, all of them have some version of themselves that's very similar to me in my story. That's why when I share my story, they're like, wow, I connect with that. That's part of me. I understand that. I sympathize with that. And so when you're able to share your story, you're actually creating a niche market. You're creating a space where only the people that this connects to will come in. And when you do that, it becomes very exclusive and very appropriate for what they need. You're no longer trying to talk to people who don't care, or talk to people who don't really have a desire to listen to your story. You're talking to exactly the right person that you should be talking to. Then in week 3, we talked about providing value to get rapid results. This is where your coaching expertise will come in play, because you will no longer be writing up a protocol and sending it out like physicians do and nurses do and doctors do, because they really just do a one-size-fits-all approach. Oh, your labs look normal? You're fine. Oh, you feel like this? You're fine. Unfortunately, that's not how humans are made. We're made all individual. We all have different issues. We all have different genetic makeups. And then when you add on trauma, everyone who's different then experiences stuff through a lens of pain and suffering. And so if you can provide value to your clients by becoming a really good listening coach, by becoming an intrinsic coach, by supporting people, by offering them a reflection of what they need, you're going to give them the best value, and it's going to help you rapidly get through to them very, very quickly. And the other thing I didn't do was I didn't put on my oil. So as soon as before we start this next one, I'm going to have us put on our oil. So bringing us to today, we are going to be working on the next portion of the last portion of our vulnerability series before we shift into a new understanding of what the health coaching realm looks like, okay? Because my next series will begin next week, a little bit earlier in time on Wednesdays, but it will basically cover how the becoming a licensed spiritual healer is going to become the new health coach. People aren't going to go get health coach certifications anymore. They're going to be getting spiritual healing certifications because it's going to identify with people on a much deeper, more spiritual, soulful level. So everyone take a big deep breath. I'm going to take a drink of my water. And if you have highest potential, I would love you to go grab it and put it on. And take a moment to breathe this in, because when you are allowed to be in your highest level of self, when you're allowed to do the things that are the hardest, you are working from your zone of genius, and you're also using the gifts God has given you and going to reap the benefits of it, okay? So I like putting it on my face and then breathing it in, okay? Take a 10-minute break and then come back down and I'll be ready to work with you, okay?
I did the same thing that the calculator uses, and I wrote it in.
You're not allowed to use the calculator. Go ahead and go upstairs, take a 10-minute break.
First.
Take a 10-minute break. I'll see you in a few minutes. He really wants to go see his friend, so he's really, really trying hard to get this done, but he's cheating, so I have to make him take a break. Okay, so forgive me for last week. I was really struggling to push it off, but my husband decided to take us on a really fun vacation, like a day trip, and we went hiking in this place called Starved Rock. And so thank you for being patient and for meeting me on a Sunday. I don't normally like to do things on a Sunday because it's a rest day, but it's a perfect rainy day. It's great for meeting and talking. Today's call is all about being vulnerable enough to offer your services, okay? Now, this is something that many of us, and if you empathize and if you identify as a helper or as a service-minded person, if you identify with someone who likes to give of yourself and not ask for anything in return, this is probably the hardest thing for you to do. This is probably the number one thing that you absolutely don't want to do, because it feels gross. It feels like I should be able to give of myself without asking for anything in return, and people should just love me because I'm giving to them. Well, people already love you, number one, so cross that off your list. People love you. I am loved by people. You can write that on a sticky note. I have sticky notes all around me. You could just write that and make sure that you understand that, because people love you for who you are. And when you identify as someone who can receive financial support and income from your gifts, then you will identify with bringing in a higher value and a higher monetary income just based on living in that space of I am loved and my love is worth something, okay? When we don't get the love that we need as a child, okay, when we talked about, I think it was week 2 or 3, we talked about how it is so very hard for us to identify as someone who can be a giver, right? We give. It's so hard for us to receive because we had a hard time receiving as a child. Nobody was there to give to us. We didn't get the love that we needed, and so receiving feels really weird. It feels almost wrong. It feels almost like, oh, I shouldn't take that. I should be able to do this for free. But in reality, people want to pay us for our time. When I work with somebody, they're almost always asking me, what's your hourly rate? And I have several. I have some for the people that I really love and they're family members and they're close in nature. I want to give them a number, but I don't want to give them my highest number. And then I have the people that I meet off the street who get referred to me, and they get the price that I don't know them, so they're going to get my highest price. Now we can talk more about pricing later. But the value of offering means that you are vulnerable enough for someone to say no to you. Okay? So there's been a program around called How Many No's Can You Get? And for people in our realm, when we hear the word no, we're hearing shut down. We're hearing, oh, they don't love me. We're hearing, oh, you don't want my help? What did I do wrong? Have you ever been trying to help somebody and you give them advice and you give them advice and you give them advice and they say, I actually don't want your advice? You kind of feel like your heart has been shut off, or your heart's been cracked open because all you want to do is help. What are you supposed to do now? You kind of feel hopeless and helpless. What do I even do at this point? But that, for us, my friend, is one of the biggest things that we have to understand, is that when we hear the word no, it's not against us, it's all about them. So making an offer feel comfortable where they can take it or they can leave it is all about your vulnerability here. So when you even think that you're going to offer something to someone, you have to understand that they have two choices: take it or leave it. And when they leave it, you get to say, well, that's awesome. You got to choose what's right for you. And I'm still here for you when you need me. And I'm still going to offer the same price to you. Or I'm going to offer something that's going to look a little bit different. But when you put a number on your gifts, it makes it more important to you. It makes it so that you can offer something and receive something in return. It's against all of your beliefs. I'll say it again. It feels wrong. It feels scary. It feels awful sometimes to get paid for something that you want to just do out of your heart. But for people who want to grow in this business, you're going to either offer or you're going to not have a business anymore, because eventually you're going to be spending so much money on your services and your products and the tools that you have that it's just going to be a hobby. It's not going to really be a business. So if you want this to be your business, let's dig deeper. Okay? So when we get past that fear, or when we identify with the fear, okay, I'm afraid that someone will say no to my offer. If that's all that we're afraid of, then you could just practice offering it to people that you know will not accept it. Okay, so when I was first starting out with my raindrops, we all have to go through all those practicums, right? So we're practicing, and I would ask a lot of people in my family if they would let me do a raindrop on them. And you know how many I got? Zero people in my immediate family, my mom, my aunts and uncles, have let me give them a raindrop. The people who have not said no to me are the people who either are interested in taking care of their bodies, or people who really just support me and love me no matter what, and also want to see me do well. They're not afraid. They're not anything. They just want to offer. They just want to let me do what I need to do for them. Did you need something, babe?
I was looking for tape.
Tape? Here.
No duct tape.
Duct tape is in the middle drawer, in the thing in front of the mirror.
Okay, thank you, bye.
Love you, bye. So, when we get over the fear of someone saying no to us, the biggest thing that we can do then is to remember that offering our services is an act of faith, okay? I was reading some scripture that every single person has a gift, okay? Every single person is going to have a special gift given from God, okay? And there are so many things when we employ these spiritual gifts, okay? If you're helping somebody by putting your hands on them and you're offering them prayer and anointing, you're using a spiritual gift that only a certain amount of people have been actually given to actually do this work, okay? You are called and you are endowed by the Spirit for functions recognized in the church in the church body by being an evangelist, by being a disciple, by being someone who is in ministry work. We talked about last week, like it's kind of like having church on your massage table, because we're doing something as an act of faith from God. How many people have you spoken to and you've said, oh, I do raindrop? And they're like, what is raindrop? I'm sure when David Stewart, when he was 70 years old, who had already had multiple lives of different businesses, he was a professor, he was a pastor, he was he worked with geology and did things with rocks, he authored many books, he was 70 years old when he started CARE. Can you imagine how many times he had to tell people what is raindrop? Can you imagine how many times he had to explain to them that God told him to stop what he was doing, functioning as an author, a very, very, very smart man getting paid just to write books and sit around, and he shifted and started an entire company just on the basis of giving and anointing people with raindrop because he received an anointing himself? So when you are talking to people and sharing this gift, you're also sharing the ministry of healing. So I just want to remind you of that. So if your fear's in the way, you have to go back to why you're doing this, okay? And then we have to remember that receiving money is not bad, okay? There's common misconception that money is the root of all evil. We've all heard that phrase. But when you sit in your power, knowing that you are not using your money for evil. You're not going to pay off people to get them to take drugs that will cause them death. You are not putting poisons in people's foods. You are not contaminating people's water supply so that they get cancers. These are all the things that money is doing in our everyday life with the FDA, EPA, our water department, just the fact that the Food and Drug Administration can put in God knows what in our food. These are all things that are being done evilly with money. But when you're receiving an income from your spiritual anointed gifts, it is so that you can use that to put it back right into your ministry. Some of it has to go into maintenance for yourself. Some of it goes into just providing food and water and clothing and shelter, all your basic necessities for yourself, right? Because you're self-owned business. And then when you have more money, you can pour more into your ministry, right? So every single time when Jesus was working through his ministry, people would provide for him. People would give to him. He never once said, no, I'm not going to take that. Remember when Mary, the one who was accused of being a prostitute, and she had this beautiful box of spikenard, and she pours it all over his head and his feet and anoints him, and then Judas, the one who was taking money and using it for evil, comes in and says to him, why would you allow her to pour this on your head? You could have given it for a year's worth of wages to the poor. And Jesus said, because you have me right now. She knew that I needed this for me right now. You will always have the poor. You will always have everything else around you, but you will not always have me. And when we're working in our ministry and our spiritual gift, we are providing the vessel for Jesus's ministry to happen, for healing. And some people actually come to know Jesus Christ on your table. Some people actually come to know God the Father on your table. Some people actually come to feel the love and tenderness and gentleness of the Holy Spirit while they are on your massage table. So when you are receiving income to provide a service, it is your basic welfare that you need in order to live when you're doing this as a business, okay? So just remember, you have to take care of yourself. You always got to put that oxygen mask on yourself first. So if you're providing and giving to others before you're giving to yourself, you're eventually going to get burnt out, and then your ministry is done. You won't want to do this work anymore. So don't be afraid to have an offer. Don't be afraid to offer it to people, knowing that you're going to be getting something out of it, but so are they. And know that they want to pay you for your work, okay? And then finally, to care for us, we must have boundaries. So this kind of goes into what I was just saying, in the fact that if we don't have that boundary between client and coach, if we don't have that boundary between receiver and facilitator for raindrop, if we're always having people call us when they're in crisis, when they're miserable, when they're sad, when they're angry, when they're frustrated, when they have a broken arm child, or if they're calling you at 2 a.m. and they're not providing you with any income, you are going to be feeling eventually feelings of resentment because nobody is going to offer that back to you.
Daddy got a gun, and it's one of these balls.
Ooh, an Orby? Ooh, fun. I'll be upstairs in just a minute, okay? Okay, say hi to my friends. I'm talking to them. I'll see you in a minute. Okay.
Hi.
All right, go ahead. Love you, buddy. So, the last thing, that's my Max.
Okay, just showing Mom this.
Yeah, you're showing me the Orby gun. Okay, so the last thing is we must have boundaries, okay? One of the biggest things that I learned over the past 2 years, and I'm being very, very honest, this is also a reflection of how good my boundaries were. I would provide a service for people in good faith, knowing that they would most likely provide something in return for me if and when I called upon them. And yet it would happen so often that I would never receive back what I had expected, okay? So it would be, oh, I'll get you back, or oh, I'll do this for you, or I'll pay you later, or I'll do this. And for me, I just didn't have very good boundaries. I didn't have a good a tool to say, no, thank you, or this is my price. Sure, come on by. It's $75 for the 45 minutes. It's easy for me to say now. But 2 and 3 and 4 years ago, I was so concerned with making a name for myself and providing myself the comforts of receiving money, because we have been through a whole faithful journey with our finances. The past 5 years, my husband was in nursing school. Actually, 5 years prior to last year. Last year was his first year as a nurse. And when I think back to that, I didn't value myself enough in order to put a price tag and a boundary line on my gifts. And I'm not saying it's bad to offer to people when they need it. I have definitely stopped what I've been doing because I felt called to. God prompted me or gave me the green light to help a person in their need, in their time of need. But now, when I know that person is not really serious about their health, or they aren't really willing to go the steps that it takes to continue their health pathway, or if I know that they aren't serious about using the products and the services that I do, I pause, I pray, and I put a boundary line up. So my 3 P's, okay? So if someone calls me and they're looking to talk on the phone, and they, number one, are not a very close friend of mine, or not a family member or whatever, and they expect me to talk to them and give them advice, I definitely say, hey, I can't talk right now. Let's book a time to call. Go on my website, click the time that you want to call. I have a 30-minute call that we can do, but it's going to be on my time. It's going to be when I can do it. Because a lot of times I'm with my family. I spend 99.8% of my time, I calculated this the other day, I only spend about 5 to 6 hours away from the house each week. So 99.8% of my time I'm with my family. If someone's calling me without setting up a time frame and they're not providing me with either the courtesy to set up the time on my own or a financial stipend, then I'm going to have to put up a boundary there because my kids are needing me. I'm here. My main job right now is mom, teacher, homemaker. So when my part-time job comes up and I need it to work, I always have to say, hey, can we set up a time? Can I call you back at this time? Can I do this for you when it's convenient for me? And 9 times out of 10, people are like, absolutely, call me when you can. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Or they leave a message saying, hey, let me know when you can speak. I don't have a phone line that's like an office phone and a cell phone. I have just my personal line, and I'm okay with that. I just know that I don't have to always answer the phone. So this is all about that boundary line. And people value you more when you have boundaries. It's so important. There are some people in your life that will see this as a very, very If you've always given them free reign over your personal life and your personal time, they're going to be upset by this. And I have had, I can count on 2 hands the number of people that have walked away from me as a friend, as a business mentor, as a health coach, as an inspiring person in their life, because I would not give them all of my free time. They were not willing to pay me, and I was not willing to give them my free time because they didn't respect me. So I found out they called me their friends, but in reality, they really weren't my friends. They just wanted to use me. So as a number 2, as an empath, as a helper, as a giver, as a lover, as someone who wants to give all of me to all of you, I'm telling you this right now. You are going to have to make a decision. Are you going to make this a business and have boundaries? Or are you going to make this a hobby and get burnt out and want to give up and leave it? And if you know this is your ministry, if you know this is in fact the truth for you, then you've got to have these tools set in place. You've got to put that value on your time. You've got to put that fear out of your mind that people want to pay you, that people don't want to pay you. That's not true. People want to pay you. You have to know that receiving money is not bad. It's a beautiful gift that you get to use and to help yourself and to help other people. And you have to know that you have to have boundaries put in place so that you can care for yourself and make your business worthwhile, okay? So now, I really wanted to show you guys how to make a great offer, how to provide so much more growth for your business. But I realized that is a paid opportunity in a masterclass. It's not going to be expensive. It's going to be like $7, but it's for people who are serious about jumping in and having a website, having actual things that work for their business. This is what I teach my free coach, my paid coaching clients. So I'm not going to offer it for free. It's going to just be a masterclass on the details on how to do it. And you can decide if you're ready to jump into that and work through your business. I've given you lots of encouragement in this past month. So that portion is going to be on Sunday next week at 4 p.m. It'll be a Zoom link, and it will be just a small paid fee. You get to keep the recording, you get to keep all the ideas, you get to keep everything that comes with it, and then you have a special offer to join a coaching sessions and stuff like that. So what we'll learn there is how to create a really great offer in a space to do the work that requires you to make your offers known. Okay, we're going to talk about how to do them, how to tell people what you do, how to invite them to learn more, how to make them feel at home in your space, because not every space is the right space to talk about your business. We know that. We're going to talk about how to educate them and serve them with tips and just a beautiful way to support people. And then we're going to show them that when they join you in this exclusive space, when they join you and follow you and learn more from you, when they've decided to become a follower of you, they're going to get a special incentive to receive special gifts and special offers from you. So I'm excited. I have it all written, planned out for what we'll talk about next Sunday. I have been doing this exact same protocol for 4 years now. This is how I get my paid clients. This is how you will get your paid clients. I guarantee you. You offer things, you support them, and you make them feel very, very welcome and loved. And when you do that, people just naturally want to be around you, and people naturally want to learn from you. So I'll put that link up. It'll be next Sunday. And I hope that this blessed you, knowing that you can charge people money for your services. It's a beautiful thing. And it's something that it's very hard for me. I've gone in waves of being able to charge and not charge, and have a website that functions to book clients all the time, and then not wanting to book and charge people. So believe me, I'm learning right alongside with you. I'm proud of you for all the work you've done, and I cannot wait to talk more about what this looks like next week with you all in our masterclass, okay? So have a wonderful day. Thanks, Kelly, for joining. Masterclass will be next Sunday. Time frame for the call, yeah, she brought that back in, and Sherry said hello. So I hope you guys will have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday. It's raining here in Indiana, and I hope you guys just have a restful night and look forward to Monday. Have a great day. Bye.